Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a while, but what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD1HD here, back again with a video, and of course here on PlayStation Source, we're going to be covering some rumors that came out last week about PlayStation. And so these are going to cover a bunch of different topics, including PS5, Dead Stranding, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, as well as the next State of Play stream. And so I wanted to before we even get into any of those topics, want to be very clear here that these are just rumors. They're from 4chan. So there is no concreteness to this whole thing, no concreteness to this at all. This is all just rumors and speculation, but I figured that some of these actually make sense, so I figure why not just make a video about it and just let you guys know what's been going on in the rumor side of things involving PlayStation. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Wait. Before we start the video, you are going to be watching some stream footage of me playing Batman Arkham Knight. And so I've been going through all the Batman series, and I've been, just playing that whole trilogy, that whole quadrilogy, the 4 games, stuff like that. So definitely go check out twitch.tv/TKD123. I usually tweet out whenever I start streaming. You can go watch me play Batman and other games as well. So back to the video. So where this all came from, of course, it came from 4chan, and the link where I got this whole thing is, of course, from Push Square, so I will link it in the description as per usual with all my videos about this. And so we have here that it came from 4chan, and it looks like it came from a poster that was sent to a bunch of people on PlayStation marketing, and it detailed a bunch of things about State of Play, about their plans for PS5 and stuff like that. And so it's a very, very substantial type of rumor here that we got that has a lot of different things covered. And so I'm just going to read straight from this, and we'll talk about it and everything and stuff like that. But then again, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, this is rumors. It was on 4chan. It's not confirmed at all, but let's get right into it. So it says here that, quote, again, it all sounds kind of reasonable, but we don't know why Sony would be sharing quite so much confidential information in a series of emails to a number of employees. That was going over how they think that, this is kind of suspect, how they would share this much info with people via email. But beside the point, the poster says that the next State of Play will take place on November 1st and will feature a launch trailer for Dead Stranding, some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and a release date reveal for Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog's latest, and apparently releasing on May 20th, in case you were wondering. And so, I don't know, okay? So, I kind of see the next State of Play, if it is actually going to be all the way in November 1st, that kind of makes sense because they have Tokyo Game Show and Paris Games Week in between those two, so they can easily, show up in those if they want to show off anything that is not as substantial as Last of Us Part 2, or maybe, this is completely bogus and they're showing Last of Us Part 2 or Ghost of Tsushima or Dead Stranding in one of the 3 conferences that I just mentioned, being, well, 2, the other 2 conferences, that being Tokyo Game Show or Paris Games Week. So if this is all bogus, they could land up on those 2 conferences. But if they are planning on just rolling out some, light stuff, maybe show off some more Concrete Genie or Medieval remake and stuff like that, maybe they can wove those into their presence at Tokyo Game Show and Paris Games Week, and then come out with a bang for the State of Play in November. That seems to make sense. But then I feel like this also doesn't mention anything about the existence or there actually being a PlayStation experience, another PSX for 2019. Again, last year they didn't have one, so maybe they're just going to skip out on it entirely, but I just don't see them skipping out on it, or maybe they're going to rebrand it in a whole nother way where it takes place in February, that we'll talk about a little bit later in this video. But what does make sense to me is that if there were to be a State of Play on November 1st, I could clearly see there being a launch trailer for Dead Stranding, as Dead Stranding launches that same month. Definitely makes sense right there. And I could see a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order stuff. They have done a lot of cross marketing with the other Battlefronts, so of course to have that Star Wars marketing again for the PS4, that definitely does make sense. But it is quite interesting to have that thrown in the mix randomly. And then we have the release date for The Last of Us Part 2. Now, May 20th seems plausible, right? My bet was going to be February or something like that, but it looks like maybe they need, even more time than usual. So May 20th, I guess that lines up. I guess that makes sense with Last of Us Part 2. And that's the latest in terms of release date rumors of Part 2. Obviously, we have a ton of different release date rumors that we have talked about endlessly on our Road to Part 2 podcast on the channel, but quite interesting how it will be pushed all the way to May. Very interesting there, and I could see it actually happening, you know what I'm saying? Because definitely with Sony and PlayStation, they give Naughty Dog as much time as they need. Like, whatever they need time-wise, they get it, because they're Naughty Dog. They know the game's going to sell. Part 2 is going to do incredibly well financially, and I'm sure, receptively and commercially and stuff like that. So we'll see how it all unfolds, but let me know what you guys think about this, guys. Do you guys think that there will be a State of Play in November 1st? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, according to the article, this is where things get a little bit wonky, at least for them and their kind of mind frame and what they're thinking about the future of PlayStation. So they say here that supposedly the email also mentions Ghost of Tsushima, saying that although it won't be shown during State of Play, development is progressing smoothly. Sucker Punch's Japanese action style will also be coming to the PS5. And so they pose a question of why would they say this in an internal marketing email that is going to marketing people? It just seems kind of weird that they would, outright say that, hey, it won't be shown. Like I could see them saying, hey, we're gonna hold Ghost of Tsushima for more news in 2020 or something like that. But to have them say that it's progressing smoothly, or maybe this is some sort of bullet points of what they'll be saying on the supposed State of Play in November, it just seems odd for them to mention that, and I kind of agree that testament. Although, I don't know, I can see it, but I don't see why they would be giving that info to marketing people, at least. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure what the deal is with there, but that was about Ghost of Tsushima. So really, there's nothing really there about Ghost of Tsushima other than that, hypothetically, if this State of Play were to be happening, they would not be mentioned. Other than that, maybe they mentioned that the development is going smoothly or something like that, but nothing of substance. What's more interesting is that what they say about the PS5, which I think is very interesting and something that I think lines up with what I would have guessed for the PS5 rollout. So they say here, quote, as for Sony's next gen console, it apparently will be revealed on the 12th of February next year at an all new PlayStation meeting event. And so this, to me, definitely makes sense. This is what I've been saying for a long time, that, hey guys, look, they're not going to talk more about PS5 or show new hardware unless we get a dedicated, type of event for the hardware, like we did for PS4, because the PS4, they announced the PS4 in February of 2013, and they had Mark Cerny on the stage talking about the different internals and the architecture of the PS4, and then the PS4 came out later that year. And so that definitely does make sense to have a separate event for February for the PS5. To me, that definitely makes sense, honestly. And I believe they also dubbed it a PlayStation meeting for the PS4 era. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if it was actually called a PlayStation meeting, but they do PlayStation meetings in February to do some stuff with PlayStation. But it's more like business stuff. It's not really consumer stuff. But they did for the PS4 if it was called PlayStation meeting. And so that to me makes sense, honestly. That definitely lines up with what they've done in the past with the PS4. And I think this part is the most likeliness, is the most likely part of this whole thing to be credible and to be actually going to happen. I feel like we will definitely hear about the PS5 in February of 2020. I feel like that definitely does make sense. But to me, what I feel like this whole thing is missing is the supposed PlayStation experience. Is that even happening? What is that? Because I would assume that if they were to do a sort of November 1st PlayStation State of Play, right? I would assume that they would have debuted the Death Stranding trailer. That sounds right. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, that sounds pretty cool. But to mention that maybe they show, I don't know, because I was gonna say, all right, maybe they separate the two. Maybe they have a release date trailer and then they have some more gameplay later on. But I feel like you would want to show as much gameplay as you can and then announce a release date. Or maybe they're gonna have a separate event towards factions. Maybe there's something else going on with part 2 in their rollout as to why they're going to, kind of like blow the lid on it, supposedly for State of Play in November, hypothetically. Again, nothing's confirmed, but hypothetically speaking. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but I just wanted to kind of lay that to you guys. Let me know what you guys think about all this. What are you guys' thoughts on all this? Definitely interesting here, definitely interesting rumors, definitely interesting stuff as well. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think about all this stuff? Do you guys think this is going to happen? Let me know your thoughts down below, and make sure also while you are down there to check out our description where you can find our Instagram, our Twitter and Discord, and our Twitter to follow us on there. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, as well as hit subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.